I got the A55 about 5 months ago. I unboxed it and I was getting set to review it. But then I fell sick. By the time I was feeling better, I was really just too busy working on other videos. So I just said I would keep the A55 and do a long-term review. So yeah, finally, after 5 months, after its price has changed multiple times, after receiving multiple different software updates, we're reviewing the Galaxy A55. Better late than never, right? When this phone first came out, my first impression was, it's a good phone, but also a very expensive phone. On day one, it was selling for a little over 600k, mainly because of the Naira situation at the time. But then very quickly, as time passed, it kind of dropped, and now it costs about 545,000. Still kind of expensive, but technically it dropped in price. On Amazon though, you can see the A55 for as low as $290. This was a phone that launched at over $400. So yeah, definitely its price has dropped. With pricing out of the way, let's talk about the phone. With the A55, Samsung definitely went premium. Like yes, we've got the typical glass on the front and glass on the back, but now they decided to add aluminium frames. The A55 definitely feels and looks very premium. That's definitely one of the best things about this phone. And I also know I'm like super late to say this, but I absolutely love this purple color. My only complaint with design is the front of this phone. Like, why does it have this much bezel? Like, I get that they have to differentiate the S series from the A series, but if you're spending, what, 500k on a smartphone, it should have way less bezels. So Samsung with the A56, please reduce the bezels. But yeah, other than that, this is a good looking phone. Now you've probably heard its specs like a billion times by now, so we're not going to fixate on them, but just as a refresher, it's got a 6.6-inch 1080p Super AMOLED display, which by the way is now protected by Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. It also has a 50 megapixel main camera and a 32 megapixel selfie camera. For its processor, it's using the Exynos 1480. For RAM, it's 8 gigs. For storage, it goes up to 256. And then it's got a 5000 mAh battery and supports 25 watts of fast charging. So yeah, those are the specs. But how has it held up? Well, there's not a lot to say about the display 5 months later. I mean, it's still the same. It's great for watching content, it's smooth, it's bright. And even after dropping this phone a couple times, I don't seem to see any like major scratches or dents. So I guess the Victus Plus protection is doing its thing. There's also not that much to say about cameras. I mean, yeah, of course, they're still good cameras. I took a couple different pictures on the A55. I even compared it to the Camon 30 Pro 5G, you know, just to see which one's better. And yeah, kind of like you'd expect, they both did really well. For me, I think it's just which style do you prefer? Which look do you prefer? One's a bit warmer, while one's a bit more balanced. Video quality too is still good. I mean, it shoots up to 4K 30 FPS with video stabilization, and the results are fine. Arguably the best cameras on a mid-range smartphone. Arguably. On the A55, Samsung's still stuck with Exynos. And if you know Exynos, you know it's really good on paper, but almost always just needs more optimization. I remember watching Izzy's initial review of the A55, and in his video, he basically complained that some games just didn't work well. I think he said he couldn't even play Warzone Mobile. Now granted, this was a brand new game that a lot of phones had issues playing, but I'm pretty sure that if this had a MediaTek processor, it would have played the game on it. The good news though is that after a couple weeks and a couple software updates, the A55 could play Warzone Mobile. And they also got optimization for a bunch of other games too. So gaming did get better, which is good. The overall performance though kind of stayed the same, which isn't really a bad thing because for the most part, it's great. Apps open quickly, multitasking is great, everything feels fluid and smooth, but occasionally there are slight hiccups, which have been there from day one, but it's nothing too crazy. Overall, we can actually say that performance did improve. It did get better. thanks to some software updates. Speaking of software updates, the A55 got a recent update which brought the circle to search feature. We initially saw this feature on just Samsung flagships, but now it's on the A55, it's also on the A35, A54, and A34. It's one of those features that you kind of wish every single phone had, you know? The A55 is set to receive 4 years of major OS updates, so I'm pretty confident that as the years roll on, the A55 would keep getting more and more software features, and with AI being such a big deal these days, I expect it to get more Galaxy AI features. And you see, for me, that is Samsung's key selling points with their mid-range devices, that longevity you're going to get with its many years of OS updates. When you compare this to other phones, other mid-range phones, this kind of looks boring. Like, it's a good phone, but it's kind of boring. We don't get crazy fast charging. We don't get a crazy wild design. We don't get magnetic wireless charging. We don't get a 144 Hz refresh rate display. We don't get any of that. We get a good display. We get good cameras. We get good performance. We get good battery life, decent fast charging. Kind of boring, but good. And it's going to keep being good for a lot of years. That's why you should buy the A55. So yeah, 5 months later, do I recommend the Galaxy A55? Yes. It's a phone that would be good for many years to come. Oh, and its cameras are arguably the best in its price category. That too. I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you when you see me.